Basketball is my life. I have nothing else.
This is incredible. This is the best grateful for I've ever heard.
Shooters. That's what we do.
Shooters, a basketball podcast. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. You may realize, or you may soon find out, that it's just me today. Just me in this studio by myself on Riverside. Jack can't be here today because, for whatever reason, the NBL scheduled a Wednesday night game, which threw me off. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually on holidays this week, so I'm not as locked into all things NBL, all things basketball in general. But as soon as Jack said, hey, you're flying solo this week, I was like, how come? And of course, I'm going to excuse him for whatever reason. This podcast, as much as we love it, is not priority when it comes to life things and, of course, his career. But he's playing against Brisbane. So he's traveling to Brisbane today, I believe. I'm recording on a Tuesday, so by the time this comes out, the game will be over. He's playing tomorrow. This episode will be released Thursday. So congrats, Jack, if you won. Condolences if you lost. I should record like 2 separate messages here just about how you actually went. But Tassie Brisbane, done and dusted by the time this comes out, so we're going to move on. So this will obviously be a different episode. It's just me. I was kind of looking forward, to be honest, a new challenge by myself, just seeing how we go. Talking to yourself, it's a bit weird, but it's fine. It's just me and you here. I've just realized I've been looking at myself on the screen. I should be looking dead set into this webcam the entire time. But it's just me and you here, so hope your day is going well. Should make this like an intimate podcast, but no, I'm going to move on. A few things first. Like I said, I've got a week off this week from work. Take a bit of time off after the Christmas hecticness of it all. I said that I felt like there was a social activity every single day, but it's a cool time of the year. Got a week off this year, back into it. I just said I've got a week off this year. That'll be nice, a year off and back on the next year. But no, just a week off, back into the thick of things next week. It'll be good to freshen up and just jump back into it. And before we know it, honestly, this season, NBL-wise, will be gone. It'll be over. We'll have a champion. Maybe it'll be Jack standing up there celebrating his lungs out on the big stage, and maybe I'll be there with him. That'd be actually a really cool situation one day if we do get to do that. But I'm probably jumping the gun. A few things. I got back into playing basketball this week. I've been trying to do it more and more. I've quit socially, but basketball, it feels good. It's a good outlet. I want to do it more because it's something I miss. And to be honest, I don't know how many other people have this issue, but finding a form of exercise that you actually enjoy, killer. I reckon it's a killer. I don't know if it's even possible to find something you properly enjoy because the enjoyment comes from after it. But basketball is the one thing that I can actually be like, put my hand up, I enjoy exercising, a form of exercise. So I'm going to try to do more and more of that. The other part of it is, after you play basketball yourself, you really do get an appreciation for the pros. You switch on WNBL, NBL, pretty much that night, I'm pretty sure it was, once I came home. You just appreciate their skills. You appreciate how hard it is to do things out there because I'm playing in like a really low level, sort of like a chill vibe. It's just like an open run, no refs. It's just like a bunch of guys and girls running up and down. And it's hard. It's hard to get your shots off. It's hard sometimes, even when it's you look at the competition, you're just like, okay, well, I can just have fun out here and whatever. But it's actually, yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling, but you definitely get an appreciation for the pros out there. They've got the weight of the world on their shoulders. It's their career. I'm just doing it for fun, and I'm still finding it hard. So credit to them. Now, as it's just me, I'm still going to run through some NBL things, but don't worry, I'm not going to run through game by game and just keep talking to myself by myself. I'm not like, what? Am I going to respond to myself and just, no, I'm not going to do it that way, but I'm still going to be like, hey, here's some NBL points. So I'm going to get into a few things really quickly. Now, we said this time and time again, said this last week, said the week before, but you really don't know what's going to happen in this league. I'm not just saying that because I work for the league. Sure, great promotions, great, hyping up the league and your employer that you work for, but I genuinely think it's true. Like Adelaide beating Melbourne, that's just one example. But with all due respect, I'm not sure who had Adelaide beating a team that's 15-5. I'm pretty sure their record sits at. It's just cool. You can kind of tune in and you really don't know what's going to expect. I'm going to give half the credit to Adelaide's uniforms. Those throwbacks are very nice, if I do say so myself. I do enjoy them. Maybe they can earn a regular rotation spot in new uniforms. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'll root for it. Things like injuries. Phoenix felt like they rolled out half their team against Illawarra. Sometimes the injury bug just bites harder to different teams, and it's part of the game. It's part of the game that I hate, especially when it's one of your favorite players. It happens all the time in the NBA, NBL as well, but NBA, sometimes I just glue to these guys that are like my favorite people, and injuries, season out. Injuries are just part of it, but they're also a part that we're going to consistently hate on. Another one of this whole you never know what to expect type thing is Illawarra sitting at fifth. They're fifth on the ladder after everything that's going to happen with them. They managed to find time to replace a coach, bring in a new guy. He's trying to change the outlook. They're sitting at fifth, so you never know what's going to happen. That's the moral of this story. Sydney, I don't know what's happening with Sydney. They lost 2 this round. They're sitting at 10-10. That's an even .500 record, which, they're defending champs. They're defending. There should be a term for when you're back-to-back, but they're defending back-to-back champs, and they're sitting at that. There's coaching whispers. There's murmurs about the rotation. There's people weighing in about who's not playing enough and who is playing too much. And I've heard of a fair few from different outlets about people maybe not being bought in enough, as in they're not playing with it's their last game, that type of attitude. So Sydney are an interesting one. That's an organisation you expect to turn it around and basically be up there by the time the season comes to an end. But we love to jump on things that are current and the narratives around that. So they're struggling. The other thing from that Melbourne game that Sydney lost against Melbourne, Jalen Adams, 8 points. Very odd for a guy like him to have that. I know all players do it. Bryce Cotton does it. Then we rip him to shreds over it. Then he comes back and does what he does. I have no doubt Jalen Adams will do the same. Is he the same? When he came back into the league, I think the question mark for me that I was interested in was that MVP season like a one-off, or is that who Jalen Adams is in this league? So time will tell. Been pretty damn solid this season, so there's that. A few more before I jump into some other stuff, but Tasmania, they were too good for Cairns. It wasn't exactly a close one, so congrats, Jack and co. I got 2 pointers from that game. Jack, he got whacked in the place where no male would like to be hit. I hope he's recovered well. After that, no, the other one, more seriously, Darren Armstrong. Got a bit of a man crush on that man. So, I think it's a weird one. Like, coming from college, people are like, okay, this kid's gonna be a star in the NBL one day if he wants to stay here long term. And to be fair, yeah, he's obviously struggled, maybe compared to what many expected. Maybe others expected him to sort of take a while finding his feet. But I'm going to say this was the best game of his career, NBL-wise. 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. It was kind of in that, I'm not going to call it garbage time, but it was in that time where hey, the game is pretty much over, even though I'm pretty sure Cairns fought back towards the end and actually made a game of it. But you love to see that from a young kid, so I always find a way to bring him up, so I'm going to keep that one short. Last one, but Bryce Cotton. Probably still, I didn't even watch this game, and I was watching the third quarter highlights especially. Probably still one of the most enjoyable things about this league is him when he gets in a roll. Like I said, the third quarter, he was just seeming to make bucket after bucket. Well, it was a highlight reel, so obviously they're only going to show the best ones, but I'm going to say that was pretty much the story of that third quarter, judging off those players alone. On the topic of Bryce, it's been a regular thing that he's played all 40 minutes as well, which is quite interesting. Just a side note, I guess. Hey, I would trust him with my life as well. I play him all 40 every game if I had to, even though it's going to probably eventually wear him down, but they got the win, so I'm not complaining. And either will Perth fans. Now, it's just me, but of course I've come prepared. I've got a hype up. I've got a grateful for. Jack didn't have any that he wanted to send in that he had on short notice, but that's fine. I wish you well, Jack. I miss you. It's strange talking to yourself here, but that's fine. I'm actually enjoying it, like I said before. Moving on. Hype someone up. I just want to hype someone up. Go on a bit of a rant. Anyone that's caught our attention, just give him some love. Junior, but do it. Now, this is probably an interesting one, or probably a name you didn't expect me to be talking about on this show, but I am, because I'm just hyping up who Junior is as a person, firstly. You never really hear a bad word, well, you never do, for that fact, I never have, about the guy. All my interactions with him has been great. He had his contract deactivated from Tasmania during the week. Tom Vodanovich, Sydney Kings, championship player. He's coming to basically, give him a bigger punch. A taller guy, a guy with more experience. And as a result of that, I think it had to do with Majuk Deng injury as well, if I'm not mistaken. But as a result of that, Junior had his contract deactivated, which, hit me in the gut a bit because I'm acting like I'm close to the guy. I barely know the guy, but I've had a few interactions and they've been nothing but great. So, I just basically wanted to say that, not everyone in this league is super friendly, especially to staff. And I get it. It's all dependent on moods, and it's not even about the league in general. It's about any league. It's about any organization around the world. You're never going to get Every single person is not going to be super quality, but the ones that are super quality, I feel need to be shouted out. So that's why I'm doing it to Junior Madud. He just seems like a quality dude. Can't wait to see him get the next contract. I know he'll probably step out into NBL 1 and do his thing and gauge some more interest that way. Yeah, shout out to just nice, genuine people out there. How's that for a sentimental hype up?
Wow, this is a negative space. I'm just going to start chucking up random things I'm grateful for.
This is incredible. This is the best grateful for I've ever heard.
Speaking of sentimental, you know what I'm grateful for this week? Organisation. And Jess, my partner, my lovely partner, who can't hear me right now, so I can just, say her name to the sky, if that's even a saying. But organisation. She did a lovely job of organising our pantry on the weekend. My dad was just here, actually, and I was showing that thing off. I was like, look at what she did. She bought all these baskets, all these little things, labeling like almonds, labeling flour, labeling all these things. And there's something about a really nicely organized pantry. So I'm grateful for that, because every time I open up that drawer now, or that door now, I'm like, this makes me feel good. So grateful for that. It's funny what such a simple thing in life can do for you right now. Like when you're 30, when you're maybe it's not even an age thing. Maybe it's just a thing in general, but it's about the little things sometimes. How am I doing? Jack, hope you're listening this one, by the way. It'd be funny if I just did all this effort by myself and Jack didn't even listen. I should set in like a little nugget here and be like, if you listen to this, you have to tell me. So, Jack, if you're actually watching this, I appreciate you. Now, but firstly, I found it quite funny. I put up a story on our Instagram account just asking to send in any questions. Usual scheduling, usual program here, even if it's just me. When I put out the Instagram story to ask me questions, I should have just left it and be like, you're asking us both. But no, I made it pretty clear that these questions were just for me. So I'm like, cool, if I get none, that's fine. There was a few in there, so I appreciate those people that did that. But that Instagram story was funny because I was just like, I feel like it's a human behavior to just be like, you're self-aware, you're self-conscious about how you sound on the mic, how you sound in front of the camera, how you look in front of the camera. It's all a normal thing, and I was just sitting in bed, like just doing a simple Instagram story. And I took probably 5 to 10 goes of that thing just to make it. I'm like, oh, a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more whatever. So that was a great sign of how this episode was going to go. But anyway, got a few fan questions, so I appreciate you all. Got one about WNBL. Thoughts on the Caps versus Flyers game over the weekend? Firstly, the first thing that popped in my head when I read this question was just the Canberra Capitals. They are so likable. I think it stems from them, any basketball team. If there's a young team, full of energy, not the best, like in terms of their ladder position or whatever, but you can tell they've got a bright future, you typically root for them. So that's got to be it. Another part of that is Jade Melbourne. It comes from her. She looks like she's having the time of her life when she plays basketball, even when the team's struggling. But someone with that enthusiasm and energy and talent, I'm acting like she's just a good person and a fun ball of joy. But she's gonna like, she already is a star. She's gonna continue to kill it in all landscapes of Australian basketball. So if you have someone at the forefront of your team like her, you're gonna root for them. But even the rest of the team, Gemma Potter, super. I just think it's really cool. It reminded me of Angus Glover, his injury history in the NBL. She's coming back from 2 ACL injuries, and it's just cool, one, to see her out there playing full stop. You don't even have to be playing well. You don't even have to be getting more minutes or a lot of minutes. If you're just out there, that's great, because I can't imagine what it's like having an injury like that. I've never had an injury like that. I'm not a pro basketball player either, so there you go. But she played well. She was doing lots, especially down the stretch when they got that win. People like her, Alex Sharp, Christian Veal is their coach. She seems like she has a great attitude and a connection with Jade Melbourne. So that's what I made of the game. And also, I'm just talking about Canberra. Canberra got the win, but I don't know what to make of Southside. 7-6. They're kind of like that middle of the pack team. I feel like people are just waiting to see when we get to see the best of them. But who knows when that will come. And speaking of Gemma Potter, I want to talk to her about those injuries and just coming back and being where she is today. Do a bit of a feature article on the WNBL website, on my website as well. So that should be fun. Speaking of people I've done articles on, I did one on Izzy Borlase, and immediately after, pretty close to, not exactly immediately, but pretty close after, she scored a career high 31 points. So if you haven't, I'm going to plug the article. If you haven't gone on WNBL website, on my website, check that article out, because I feel like she gave quite a good insight into basically all the hype she's been getting. WNBA mock draft sitting at number 12 on ESPN's mock draft there. Opals, Adelaide Lightning, pretty much the face of the franchise. So check that out. And I really enjoyed just watching how she got her points, because in that article, in that interview, she basically said that mid-range was where she wanted to expand her offensive game next. And I was watching the game down this. No, I think it was the game before that, the 31-point outing. Basically, Adelaide needed a bucket, and I was just like, I wonder where she's going to go here. And you guessed it, she went exactly to the mid-range. So I kind of like that element, because she said that's what she wanted to work on. She had the courage to do so, and she made the shot. So just little things like that, when you know players are working on that and you get that insight, whether it's from me or from anyone else, it's just a cool little thing once you're watching. This has really sparked a WNBL a little ranty, but I don't mind it. Last point on them, I was thinking the other day, I'm like, who are the favourites right now? And I'm going to be honest, firstly, it may have some bias towards Annalie Maley, just because I run a podcast with her, I produced that one, so there's something there, but I really like the way they were starting the season. And you might be like, Darren, you're really wise because they started like 0-5, 0-5, 5-0, something like that. I'm like, damn, they're looking good. But I think Townsville Fire have to be that team right now. They have to be the ones where you're thinking of championship favourites, and you're like, 11-3 speaks for itself. The way they play speaks for themselves. I was watching a game against Perth, and I'm just like, they're so well rounded. They've got a lot of weapons. So Townsville have to be that team. Melbourne Boomers at one stage had me. That was mainly due to Jordan Canada. She was killing it. Got injured, back now, thankfully. But she really had me believing that team was like the one kind of thing. For a period of time, I have no doubt they'll come back as well. But the race towards the stretch as the season keeps going and going will be fun. But Townsville have to be that team right now. Last question before I get out of your hair, before I leave you. Have you ever been in danger of a player landing on you while working on the sidelines? That's a good question, because it's pretty often you kind of feel like, wait, this player could just, if they moved a little to the left, if they ran a little harder, they could easily just run into you. They could easily land on my ankle, I should say. And that has happened once, I believe. I was trying to, spark my memory into action when I was thinking about this, but there was definitely a preseason game where someone, I'm going to say it was like Cam Oliver, maybe. It was someone of like, I'm going to say pretty high importance to the league, that he landed on my ankle. And I thought for a second, because he kind of held his ankle down, and I'm like, oh no, it's happened. It's finally happened, because it's often something I've thought about, if I'm being honest. But thankfully, I think he was fine. I thought to myself, what happened if you literally did cause a guy like that, a star in our league, to be out for 6 months because you're just like a meaningless photographer? No, I'm not meaningless. Don't say that. But a less meaningful person did that to someone like that. But it hasn't happened yet, so photographers, be careful. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave you alone right now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. This was fun. This was something different. We'll get back to regular programming, regular scheduling next week, I hope. Last time Jack did a solo episode, he finished the episode by singing his way out, and you guessed it, I'm not going to do that at all. So goodbye. I'll leave you with nothing. Enjoy the listen. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your Thursday. I really can't do the grateful for stuff as well as Jack, but he's got a way with words. He comes across as very genuine, and I am too. I just don't sound that way. Goodbye now.